All right, so as it relates to slow lowers, what I found to work really well in terms of cueing them to be able to actually get the feel that we're looking to get on them, which is pulling yourself into position, is whatever the move it is that we're doing, forget about the move and look at what is actually happening at the joints and think about doing moves at those joints without doing like the global move. So what I mean by that is if we go through a deep push-up, right? Starting at the top, and our goal is to pull ourselves into as deep of a position as you can over the given time and continue to pull all the time so at the end you can fire back up out of that. Right, so instead of thinking about it as like a push-up, what helped it click for me is thinking like at each joint, what is happening and isolate that. So specifically like at the hands, I'm thinking supinate, right? As I lower, I'm going to supinate, and then I press back out, I'm going to pronate. So as I'm lowering, I'm literally just thinking like over time, like if we take away the deep push-up, all I'm doing is I'm starting here, and over time, I'm thinking like move there. And obviously my hands are anchored to the ground in a deep push-up, so they're not doing that. But that's causing my muscle, the musculature or the tissue that pulls in the supination here to shorten over time, and so that the opposite side lengthens. So if I just look at that, like I'm not doing a deep push-up, all I'm doing is that, right? Next one that I'll think about is the elbow joint. What is actually physically happening in the elbow joint as I lower in a deep push-up is it's going from here to here. Like we just looked at the elbow joint. I'm basically doing like a bicep curl. So instead of thinking deep push-up, all I'm thinking is like I'm going to bicep curl my way from the top down to the bottom. So all I'm doing is I'm actually physically pulling myself down into that bottom position as I lower in the deep push-up. But just forget about the deep push-up and just bicep curl your way down. It's just that you're in this position and you're curling, right? Third one would be like back, shoulder, that region. So what I'm thinking there is like what happens at that as we lower a deep push-up is literally just like this. Right? If you keep everything else locked neutral, the thing that's actually physically happening at your humerus is this, right? If we then add back in, that is what's happening. So all I'm thinking is like, as I'm lowering a deep push-up, I'm doing that with my back. I'm pulling that back into position. So then at the end, I then put that all together into a deep push-up, right? But I'm not thinking about necessarily doing a deep push-up. I'm just thinking like I'm moving those joints in that way to pull myself down into that position. And I want to do that with enough intensity that the muscles on the opposite side don't fatigue out, so that I'm actually literally physically pulling myself down into that position, and then if I do that well, I'll be able to explode back up at the end of the rep.